Y'all, we're making those blueberry cookies. Come on. Welcome to Highfalutin Low Carb, the almost weekly web series where we find, test, and sometimes create the best low carb recipes this crazy internet has to offer. Today, we're tackling a low carb version of those viral blueberry cookies that have been blowing up social media. Stay tuned. All right, guys, if your social media feed is anything like mine, you've seen those beautiful lavender purple blueberry cookies that I think originated on TikTok and have migrated over to Facebook and Instagram. And I just wanted to try them. And I did see a recipe by the website tasteathome.com, and the article is labeled, "We baked the famous blueberry cookies that people can't stop talking about." So I'm using that recipe as a basis for this low carb version. It actually, I believe, comes from a TikTok user called @JustineSnacks. So if you want to check those out, I'll leave both of the links in the video description below. But today we're going to tackle a low carb version of that, and this is going to go pretty quickly. It's fairly easy to do. The recipe by Taste at Home is a vegan recipe. We're not doing that. We're just swapping out some ingredients to make this easy to make as a keto or low carb option. All right, so let's get started on this recipe right now. All right, so the star of the show in this is obviously the blueberries, and both recipes call for frozen blueberries. I tend to generally like the wild blueberries, but I didn't have any, so we're just using regular blueberries. So this is 1/3 cup of frozen blueberries. We're going to put this in the microwave for 30 to 45 seconds just to defrost these, and then I'm going to use a fork to quickly mash these down and macerate them. We're trying to get all of the juice out of the berries because that's going to act as our egg substitute. There's no egg in this recipe. So I'm going to put this in the microwave and I'll be right back. Okay, so after about 45 seconds, as you can see, our blueberries are nice and soft. These were directly out of the freezer, so it doesn't take long. Just use a fork and sort of get after these to macerate these down. And then we need this to cool pretty well, but this needs to be cool before we add it into our next step, because we're going to be creaming some butter and our sweetener together, much like you would a traditional cookie recipe. So I'm just going to put this over to the side. I'm actually going to put it on my marble countertop so that'll help pull some of that heat away. And now we turn our attention to the dry ingredients, and this is pretty simple here. I'm swapping out the flour for almond flour. Now, you know we have tested Victoria's Perfected Keto flour from Victoria's Keto Kitchen. You can certainly substitute that easily here, and it would work great and is in fact fantastic. But as you know, some people have trouble finding the bamboo flour or bamboo fiber, or just don't want to use that. So I'm going to make this as universally accessible to as many people as we can by using almond flour. I'll leave a link up here to the recipe where we tested Victoria's flour. If you want to check that out, I encourage you to do so because it is fantastic. But we're going to start with a cup of fine almond flour. I keep my almond flour in the freezer. Almond flour has a lot of fat in it, and fat at room temperature can go rancid pretty quickly. So I like to keep mine in the freezer, and of course that causes lumps. So sift, y'all. Sift your almond flour. So to this we're going to add in a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and this is 1/8 teaspoon of xanthan gum, which you would omit the xanthan gum if you're using Victoria's Keto Kitchen flour because it already has xanthan gum in it, but we're using almond flour, so 1/8 teaspoon of that. And then if you're using unsalted butter, you would add in 1/8 teaspoon of salt, but I'm using salted butter. So in this goes, and this will help also, while it's getting out the lumps, it will help incorporate all of that baking powder and the xanthan gum evenly throughout our almond flour. So there are our dry ingredients. We're going to set that to the side. Let me made a mess already. Now, while that's happening, I need to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of this video, Thrive. Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store on a mission to make healthy living easy and affordable for everybody. They've got a catalog of thousands of products that you can sort by the values that matter most to you. Now for us, that's probably going to be keto and low carb, but it could be anything like raw, BPA-free, vegan, non-GMO, whatever it is that matters most to you and your family. It's like having a grocery store geared directly to your needs. Now, they don't just have groceries and food, they also carry things like baby products, kid products, home goods. They even have frozen meat, seafood, and vegetables. And in an effort to provide the highest quality products available, they have a restriction of over 1,000 different ingredients that they do not allow into their store. Questionable things like artificial sweeteners, flavors, artificial colors, high fructose corn syrup, lots of nasties that you and I don't want, they don't even allow into their store. Now, like a lot of big box discount stores, there is a membership fee to join Thrive Market. They've got a couple of options. You can go month to month just to try it out and see if that's going to work for you. Or you can do like I do and get the year program. It gets down the price down to around $5 a month. And I know I'm going to at least save $5 a month. In fact, I just placed my last order and I was kind of shocked. I've been a member for a while. I've been a member since 2016, and they let you know how much you've saved in that time. And in that time, I'm going to put it down here on the screen, I've saved over $857, not spent, saved $857. I have diverted over 28.5 pounds of waste from landfills and have reduced my net carbon footprint by 97 pounds. So when I tell you there are savings to be had, there definitely are. Just check my comments below and you'll see lots of people who are Thrive members. Now, right now, Thrive has a fantastic offer for you guys. If you will go to my link, it'll be in the video description below and in the first pinned comment. It's thrivemarket.com/Highfalutin Low Carb. You will get 30% off your first order and a free gift valued at $60. And right this week, Thrive Market is also having their summer essential sales that it's an additional savings on top of that 30% discount. So you don't want to miss out on that. So thank you, Thrive Market, for sponsoring this video. It's sponsorships like yours that keep channels like mine on the air. And for that, I am truly appreciative. Guys, if you want to support me, go support them. Go to thrivemarket.com/Highfalutin Low Carb. You'll get 30% off your first order and a free gift valued at up to $60. And for this week, you'll get an additional savings for their summer essential sales. All right, let's get back to these cookies. Come on. All right, so now we're going to turn our attention to the butter. This is 1/3 of a cup of softened butter, and it needs to be well softened, not melted. This has been sitting out for a few hours now. Needs to be at room temperature because this needs to get as fluffy as it possibly can. So you can do this in a stand mixer. That's the easiest way to do with a paddle attachment like this. You can probably do it by hand, but it's going to take a while. We're going to be creaming this for about 5 minutes. To our butter, we're going to cream in our sweetener. And this is 1/3 of a cup of your sweetener of choice. I'm not using allulose, which I normally like. Allulose doesn't work as great in cookies. It tends to be a little bit too soft and browns a little too soon. So I'm using Locanto's monk fruit sweetener, which is a blend of monk fruit and erythritol. I'm also using the powdered because I think that works a little bit better when trying to cream things. So I'm going to put this on and it's just going to whip this until it gets nice and fluffy, probably about 5 minutes, but we need to do that before we add our blueberries. So I'm going to set this to go and I'll meet you right back here in just a bit. Okay, so as you can see, I've knocked down the sides quite a few times while we were creaming our butter and sweetener, and this is so light and bright and fluffy, and I'm not going to make a mess by taking this out to show you because what we're about to do here is another 5 minutes of mixing, but we're going to add in the macerated blueberries. And this I actually did transfer to the fridge for the 5 minutes that our butter creamed, just to make sure that this has no heat in it at all. You don't want to melt that butter. But this is where you would normally add your egg in, right? This is where your egg would go into your recipe. But instead of your egg, this is where we're using the blueberries. And so this is 1/3 of a cup of blueberries. It goes right in. And then we're going to run this on medium-high to high, depending on how big of a mess you want to make. And keep knocking the sides down so that you're making sure you're getting everything incorporated well. And then this needs to cream for about 5 minutes. And get out of the way. And this needs to cream together for about 5 minutes. This is where that beautiful purple color is going to come from that you see, that have seen in the photos. If you've seen the photos, I certainly have. That's what caught my attention. So I'm going to do that now, get cleaned up, and we'll get ready as soon as this is done in 5 minutes to add our other ingredients. And I'll meet you right back here. I'll speed this up so you don't have to watch. Okay, so as you can see, we've got a beautiful lavender butter mixture here with our sweetener and our butter and our blueberries. Scrape down these sides. You also want to make sure you're scraping the underside of the bowl, the bottom of the bowl. There's a little divot down there in a lot of these models of mixer, and it will hold a pocket of unmixed ingredients down there. And you'll find you've got a little white pocket of butter down there that's kind of gotten forgotten about. So we're going to put this on low, and we're going to slowly mix in our flour mixture. This is our almond flour, our baking powder, and the xanthan gum. The xanthan gum here, you may ask, if you're not familiar with keto baking or low carb baking, what do you need xanthan gum for? It creates a gluten-like texture. It holds the cookie together. You can do it without the xanthan gum, but you're going to get a much more crumbly cookie. It's not going to hold together and be as soft and functional and hold itself up like a regular cookie. So let's put this on low, and then I'm going to slowly add in our dry ingredients here on the side and let this come together into a nice soft dough. Don't want to go too fast here, otherwise you'll have it all over the kitchen. And I can see we've already got a little pocket of flour at the bottom of the bowl, so let's attack that. So we're sure to get everything incorporated. This is actually going to chill in the fridge, or sorry, in the freezer for about 20 or 30 minutes before we make cookies. So I'd normally tell you to preheat your oven when we started the recipe, but save your electricity. Let this sit in the fridge before 30 minutes, and then you can preheat your oven about halfway through that. So let's go back on low here and get this incorporated. And now we're going to add in our white chocolate chips. I use the Lily's brand, sugar-free white chocolate style chips. You're going to use a half a cup of these. So those are going to go in, and you're just getting them incorporated. You don't want to let it do too much. You're not trying to break those apart. You just want to get them mixed into the dough pretty well. All right, so let's wrestle with this and take your paddle off. You're using a paddle attachment, not the whisk attachment. And let's give it one good mix by hand with a spatula and scrape down the sides of the bowl really well so that everything is right in the center of the bowl. This is going to make 12 cookies, but so that they hold their shape while they're baking, we want to make sure this is chilled well. Get off of there. Wesley, come on. All right, get out of the way. Y'all look at how pretty that is. It's so purple and nice. And don't worry about the, obviously we've got the skins from the blueberries, but that's all about it. If you've seen pictures of this, you've seen what they look like, and they are gorgeous. Make sure you got the bottom of the bowl good. Now, impeccably clean fingers here. Make sure you're getting it all, because Lord knows this is all some expensive ingredients, as keto baking can be. All right, so this is going to go in the fridge, our beautiful dough. Let me look at that. Ooh, that's pretty. This is going to go in the, I keep saying fridge, it's going in the freezer for, check it at 20 minutes, might go up to 30. You don't want it frozen solid by any stretch of the imagination, but we're going to make 12 cookies out of there. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to get cleaned up and get my baking pan ready and my oven preheated to 400 degrees. See you right back here. All right, so we are back, and as you can see, our dough has chilled. It's been about a half an hour in the freezer, and now we've got to get 12 cookies out of this. This makes 12. This is a little bit larger than a tablespoon. I forgot what number they call it, but you're just going to sort of have to do a best guess estimation here. I'm going to bake 6 at a time, and I'm going to roll them into a little ball before we do, and you kind of want them all the same size, of course. And I'm baking 6 now in case they don't come out great. I can bake another round. So I have a pretty one for my thumbnail. This isn't frozen solid, but you definitely know that it is firm. And this helps the cookie hold its shape when it's baking. Otherwise, it would just sort of spread out way too much. All right, if you're baking these in batches, put this back in the fridge. Okay, with impeccably clean hands, you're going to get some butter on you. Just roll these into a little ball. And then these will go right on the baking pan. And these are going to bake at 400 degrees for right at 10 minutes. Start checking them at 8. They'll probably be done about 10. Could go up to 12 depending on your oven, depending on how big the cookies are. You want them to come out of the oven while they're still pretty soft. They're going to look softer than you would think. Sort of like a regular cookie, okay? All right, so I'm going to bake these off. Look how pretty they are. And we'll meet you back here in about 10 minutes, and we'll test these, and I'll let you know what I think, and we'll go over the macros for these as well. All right, guys, so we are back, and as you can see, our first batch of cookies are out. They do need to remain in a ball because they're clearly going to spread out like this. Get them off of the baking sheet as soon as you can because they're going to continue to spread from the residual heat. So take them off and put them on a cooling rack. It's been about 20 minutes here. Let's quickly talk about nutritional information. I was able to get 12 cookies out of this. The second batch, they're a little bit bigger than this. But if you make 12 cookies, this is the nutritional information without the erythritol, the sugar alcohols from the sweetener in both the sweetener and the chips. So one cookie is 125 calories. You've got 11.6 grams of fat. You've got 2.1 grams of protein. You've got 3.5 grams of total carbs, 2.5 grams of that is fiber. So it's 1 net carb per cookie. So let's see what these taste like. They look really good. Look at that color. That's beautiful. And these are still a little bit soft. They're going to firm up as they cool. So what do they taste like? Crispy around the edges, buttery, very lightly sweet. Oh, that's good. They're holding together pretty well. That's the xanthan gum doing its job there. I could eat these. Blueberry cookies. Those are good. All right, I'm going to give myself an A if I do say so myself. Low carb, trendy blueberry cookies. Can it be done? You better believe it. Thank you guys for joining me. I say it every time. These videos are a way for me to maintain my low carb way of eating, and looking in the end of that camera as often as I can helps keep me honest. So I appreciate that you guys have come along for the journey. I'm going to ask you, if you will, to please like this video, hit the thumbs up down below. Also be sure, if you're not a subscriber, to hit the subscribe button down below, and the bell button will let you know just as soon as I release a new video. If you don't follow me over on Facebook or Instagram, please go to do that over there. It's just Highfalutin Low Carb at both of those locations. I talk a little more frequently and a little more freely. Actually, I'm on the AIDS life cycle ride right now. Currently, as this video goes live, am bicycling 545 miles from San Francisco to Los Angeles to raise money to fight AIDS. So I won't be able to respond to as many comments as I usually do, but I will get to you just as soon as I can when I get back somewhere that I'm not sitting on a bicycle seat. So please wish me luck. I need to also thank my sponsor again, Thrive Market. I say it all the time, sponsorships aren't why I do this, they're how I do this. So please be sure, if you want to support me, go to thrivemarket.com/highfalutin low carb. You will get 30% off your first order plus a free gift valued at up to $60. And right now is the summer essential savings sale. It will be an additional discount on top of that 30%. So be sure to check that out at the link below. Lastly, my rock stars, my Patreon members. If you don't know what Patreon is, think of it as the tip jar for the internet. It lets people like you, who enjoy what people like me do here on YouTube, you can give $1 or $2 to keep the train on the tracks, and you're going to see their names start to scroll here. Truly, without them, none of this would be possible. So if you want to join that crowd over there and see your name on the list, go to patreon.com and search for Highfalutin Low Carb. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. And remember, today is a great day to have a great day. Bye-bye.